The moon was barely high over Istanbul the night he first kicked a ball with eyes that saw nothing but the horizon. In a neighborhood where every alley whispered stories of boys dreaming bigger than their backs could carry, Semih Kılıçsoy dared to hope. There was a time when no tunnel, no echo of applause, no stadium flooding with light had welcomed him. Just cold concrete, the roar of distant fans, and the endless hunger in his stomach. Scouts would pass by indifferent. Mistakes piled up like scars. He fumbled passes in training sessions, felt the weight of doubt clutching his chest, and heard the hushed whispers, "Does he have what it takes?" Every morning he rose before dawn, chasing the echo of his own heartbeat against empty goalposts, pushing until every muscle trembled, until every bruise became a badge. Then one day everything changed. A youth league game, a late pass, a half chance, Semih's moment. He cut through two defenders, lifted his head, and placed the ball like poetry into the corner of the net. Silence, then eruption. That single goal sliced through the fog of uncertainty. Beşiktaş coaches took notice. His journey had begun, not with glory, but with grit. If you love stories of relentless heart, of a boy bending fate with every stride, make sure to hit that subscribe button now, because what comes next, you won't want to miss. Beşiktaş's academy isn't just a football school, it's a forge. A place where raw talent is burned, molded, and refined into something extraordinary. That's where Semih was truly made. He wasn't the loudest. He wasn't the most celebrated. But he was the most relentless. When others rested, he trained. When others doubted, he stayed silent and improved. He was obsessed with progress, obsessed with becoming better than the player he was yesterday. Coaches quickly realized this wasn't just another promising kid. He had something that couldn't be taught: mental steel. His balance on the ball, his burst of acceleration, and his vision made him a nightmare for defenders. Yet beneath all that, there was something else: hunger. The kind of hunger that only comes from being underestimated too many times. As seasons rolled on, Semih began to outgrow the academy. His goals became highlight reels. His name started echoing through the stands. Journalists began calling him the Turkish Wonderkid. It was both a blessing and a curse. At 17, he was already being compared to Turkish legends. At 18, people expected him to lead like a veteran. But the pressure never broke him. It built him. Semih's debut for the Besiktas senior team wasn't cinematic. It wasn't an explosion. It was a slow, steady awakening. Coming off the bench, feeling the roar of tens of thousands chanting, he looked up at the crowd and realized, this is where I belong. And then came the spark, his first professional goal. A moment where his past collided with his future. A goal that made headlines across Turkey. He began to find rhythm, confidence, swagger. Every game brought new lessons. Sometimes he'd fail to score, sometimes the critics would circle, saying he lacked experience. But that's what makes his story different. Semih never let the noise define him. For him, failure wasn't final. It was feedback. He absorbed every mistake like fuel, turning doubt into dominance. Behind closed doors, coaches describe him as the hardest worker in the room. Teammates call him quiet fire. His humility off the pitch contrasts with the ferocity he brings on it. That duality is what makes him stand out. But like every story worth telling, there were setbacks. A minor injury during his breakthrough season nearly derailed his momentum. For weeks, he couldn't train. The media whispered, "Was it just a lucky start?" Sitting on the sidelines, watching others play, is a torture only athletes understand. Yet instead of fading, Semih studied. He watched replays, analyzed defenders, mentally rehearsed every move. When he returned, it was as if he'd never left, stronger, sharper, more determined than ever. Soon, the offers started coming. Scouts from Italy, Germany, and England began circling. European clubs saw the potential: young, versatile, technical, fearless. But the call that mattered most came from Serie A. The Italian league, known for tactical precision and defensive masters, wanted him. It wasn't just an opportunity, it was a test. Leaving Turkey wasn't easy. Beşiktaş had raised him. Istanbul was home. But champions are forged by discomfort. Semih knew that to grow, he had to step into the unknown. And so, he packed his dreams, left his comfort zone, and landed in Italy. A new country, a new culture, a new battlefield. His first Serie A training session was brutal. The speed, the pressure, the discipline. It was unlike anything he'd faced. But that's what he'd been preparing for his whole life. Every sleepless night, every whispered doubt, every childhood bruise, it all led to this. The adaptation was slow. New teammates, new language, new food, even new expectations. He was no longer the wonder kid, he was the newcomer. But Semih embraced it. Instead of being intimidated, he absorbed everything. Italian defenders tried to bully him. He responded with clever turns and fearless runs. Coaches noticed his discipline. Fans noticed his fire. And then came his Serie A moment, a chance that seemed to last an eternity. A cross came in low. Semih adjusted. One touch, one strike. The ball kissed the net. His teammates swarmed him. The crowd exploded. That goal wasn't just a number on the board, it was a declaration. The boy from Beşiktaş has arrived. From that day on, he became a symbol of Turkish ambition abroad. Analysts praised his maturity, commentators highlighted his work rate, and fans began chanting his name in stadiums thousands of miles from where he grew up. But even as the spotlight grew brighter, Semih stayed grounded. In interviews, he often says, "I'm still learning. I haven't proven anything yet." That humility makes him dangerous, because players who believe they're done improving often fade. But players like Semih, they keep evolving. Off the pitch, he's calm, thoughtful, and disciplined. He spends time reviewing his performances, working on weaknesses. His social media isn't filled with luxury cars or parties. It's training, focus, family. The message is clear. He's not chasing fame, he's chasing legacy. As of today, Semih Kılıçsoy stands as one of Turkey's brightest hopes in European football. But this is not the end. It's the beginning. The real story of greatness isn't written in goals. It's written in how you respond when things fall apart. There will be setbacks, dips in form, critics, maybe even heartbreaks. But if his past is any sign, Semih will meet every challenge head-on. He represents something bigger than just football. He's proof that talent from the streets of Istanbul can light up the world stage. That discipline can outshine privilege. That dreams, when chased without compromise, can turn into legacy. And when the next generation of Turkish kids lace up their boots under flickering streetlights, they'll whisper his name, not as a player who got lucky, but as a boy who refused to stop believing. So, if Semih's bold journey inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep celebrating stories that remind us what passion, perseverance, and purpose can achieve. Because this is not just the rise of a footballer. This is the making of a legend.